those stories about Guru Nanak Dev Ji's life and teachings, how should we understand those narratives? Because I remember questioning my mum, but how? Why? What does this mean? Are they historical accounts or allegorical teachings, or are they a fusion of both?
Before I come to your specific question, I think it's important, the Sakhis become particularly important, the Janamsakhis as they are formally called, because as you said, we all heard them at our grandmother's knee. They become particularly important because there is this feeling that, Guru Nanak was somewhere in the past. We keep saying 500 years, 550 years, but we never accept that. It's, he's one of the sages, one of the ancients, etc. And this is something which I try to bring out in this book, is that, he was actually contemporaneous with Kabir. He was actually living when, the man with the worst possible sense of direction in the world, Christopher Columbus, discovered America. He was living when Corpus Christi College at Oxford was set up. So the first point I want to make is that we are not dealing with an ancient. The reason why we think this is ancient is because there is so little on his life. There is so little biographical fact written down by people who were living then. The very nature of his message and his writings was such that he didn't want to write about himself. And the nearest you come to writings about him is one, either the ballad of Bhai Gurdas, who was the nephew of the third Guru and wrote about 50, 60 years after the passing of Guru Nanak. And then you have the Janamsakhis. Now the Janamsakhis are hagiographic. They are not historical. The first thing is they are written by people who were believers. So there is a very strong element of faith. There's an element of fantasy even. And there are at least 4 major schools of Janamsakhis. One in which he has 2 followers, Mardana and Bala, and you see that depicted in some paintings, and others where there's only Mardana. In some places he makes 2 journeys, in some versions he makes 4 journeys, long udasis, spiritual journeys. But the Sakhis are important because though they are written by believers, they are not pure fantasy. And they were written, the first versions of the Puratan Janamsakhi were written 80 years after the passing of Guru Nanak. 80 years is not a very long time. So, 3 generations would remember. Then there are local traditions against which these can be correlated. There are gurdwaras in various places, there are signs, there are footprints put into stone, and so on and so forth. There's this inscriptions in Baghdad, the footprints you find in Kathmandu, in a gurdwara on the hill. And so you have local traditions which corroborate the Janamsakhis. So the way of approaching the Janamsakhis is, at least for a rational sort of attempt at understanding them like in this book, is to sort of test them against the message. Would this be the message? Is this kind of episode consistent with his writings and his views? Or is this completely, as they say, OTT or whatever it is. But so you have to approach it like that. There are some heretical things which have crept in some of the versions. But I think the importance of the Janamsakhis is, that is what we have.